What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Happy Monday, by the way. Hopefully your weekend was going well and you're ready for the work week. Let's get started here. We got a couple of progressive events happening for CVC in 21 hours. Speaking of CVC, if you guys are hanging around on YouTube, I will be streaming CVC around the start of CVC. So make sure you guys drop on by the channel. And as you guys may or may not know, it is personal reward CVC. So anyways, guys, we're going to jump into this progressive news here. So one sec. And there we go. That is the list for tomorrow and the day after. So on Tuesday, October 21st, blah, 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 15x progressive event. Now, these progressive events are absolutely bait. They're trying to get you to spend your shards. You do get a slightly boosted chance of getting the champions listed, and you get to choose them, of course, but honestly, the chances of you getting the non-void champion that you want is about 5% or less if you pull a legendary. So if you pull a legendary, which will be, obviously regular rates, so regular rates here, then you have, 4.5 or 5% chance of pulling a non-void legendary. If you want one of the void legendary, it's going to be, closer to about 18%. So a little bit better odds, but still not the best. Anyways, guys, let's jump into this list here. So first up, we have Donatello. So they're trying to get you guys to pick up Donatello here. He is from the Lizardman. He was the Fusion Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle here. Donatello is amazing. I will be having a video showcasing him a little bit further in a specific team. But yeah, he's amazing. Just his kit is awesome. He has the cooldown reduction here on a two-turn cooldown. And this increased speed, which is awesome. And then he has a turn meter boost and then continuous heals and strengthens. And really nice passive here as well. Good base stats, 108 base speed. Good champion. He's probably the second best turtle, I would say. Leonardo's the best, and Donatello is the second best. Being a fusion, I think he's a massive help, actually. So there you go. He is up for grabs. Yeah. Hopefully you guys got the fusion, and then you guys don't even have to worry about this guy at all. All right, the next champion on the list on day one is Caldor here. He is the Unity champion for the Sylvan Watchers. Honestly, I haven't seen too much action on this guy, and I did not playtest him myself. He has a interesting kit where he synergizes with continuous heals, and then he lands poisons as well. It's supposed to be a damage dealer. Honestly, I've never seen this guy in action. It's really, really hard to make a proper assessment on this guy. So let's first start off here. You got an A1 AoE chance to land stuns, which is really, really good. Obviously, like a built-in AoE stun set, so that's kind of nice. And then he has an A2 here where he has two conditional abilities on a 3-turn cooldown. So if you target a enemy, it'll place a poison debuff on all enemies for 2 turns and an additional 5% poison for 2 turns for each continuous heal on this champion. So he needs continuous heals to get additional value from this part of the kit. So first he places the poisons, and then he'll instantly activate 1 tick of all the poison debuffs on all the enemies. More poisons mean you need to have more continuous heals on him. But there's another condition here. If you target an ally, so you can target an enemy or an ally with this ability, which is good for flexibility. Increase the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. So he has a 3-turn extension, and instantly activates 1 tick of continuous heal. So you can basically trigger a big heal for your entire team. Places a perfect veil on this champion. Also places 2 continuous heal buffs on this champion, and another 15% continuous heal buff for each alive ally for 2 turns. So it's kind of strange. You probably want to start off with this ability, so this condition, so target himself, I guess, and then you get a bunch of continuous heals, and then somehow cycle back to this part where you can place the poison debuffs. Yeah, I guess that would be the way to do it. Finally, fills the champion tournament by 15% for each buff or debuff placed by the skill. So this could be a big turn meter boost here for himself, just so he can cycle through his abilities. His A3 attacks one enemy before attacking, has a 100% chance of removing all buffs from the target, so 100% strip, and then placing decreased defense and weaken on a single target. Will ignore 20% of the target's resistance for each continuous heal buff on this champion. So if you have 5 continuous heals, then you fully ignore 100% of the resistance. And then he has the faction unity bonuses here. So this is a damage dealing ability. 1 ally, remove all buffs from all enemies if the initial target is killed, cannot be resisted. Will ignore 5% of the target's defense for each poison debuff on them. Yeah, that could be, 15, 20% perhaps. If the initial target is under poison, also attacks all other enemies. The damage dealt is proportional to the initial target's max HP and how many poison debuffs are on them. If the initial target is a boss or minion, the damage dealt is equal to 10% of their max HP. Yeah, so instead of being a single target hit, it's going to be a AoE damage hit. You can kind of see his whole kit hinges on, having the poison debuffs or continuous heals. His other passive here will ignore 15% of the target's defense when attacking while under Veil. Okay, that's good. This champion receives 30% less damage from enemies when not under a Veil buff. So when he's not under a Veil buff. Okay. Okay, so he'll get a benefit either way, whether he's on a Veil or without a Veil. One ally. Each continuous heal buff on this champion increases their crit rate by 20%. So technically, you don't need to build them with crit rate. You can send them out with continuous heal. Each time continuous heal buff activates on this champion, also fills turn meter by 8%. That's pretty nice. Each time continuous heal buff activates on this champion or ally, increase this champion's damage by 5%. Yeah, like it's really continuous heal synergy. How much continuous heal do you have like on your roster, right? Like when I'm thinking about continuous heal, I'm thinking about like Senna. Senna would be pretty wild with this guy most likely because she can put continuous heals, she can activate continuous heals. So when activating continuous heals, he gets turn meter as well. So she could be a really big boost, but honestly, I can't really think of like a really, really viable champion to pair this guy up with. Let me know in the comments below. I think I've heard some people pop out some pretty cool ideas. I mean, Podrick could work. Podrick does have continuous heals as well. We see this kind of continuous heal poison synergy with King Galkabar as well. Not to the extent of Caldor. But anyways, he is going to be, up for grabs here as a Unity champion. So he's just pretty exclusive, right? Not sought after or not often available, but he is going to be available on day one. Up next, we have Alsgore Crimson Horn. So Alsgore here, he has the big old block damage. Block damage on the A3. 4-turn cooldown, block damage for 2 turns. It's pretty nice. And then continuous heal on his A2. This guy was the answer for me for hard faction wars. He got me through it with an auto team, so it's been really, really good. Great champ. He's gonna help you progress in a lot of areas. Clan boss, Iron Twins. Like I said, hard faction wars. So you guys need him. Good champ. He does have some bonuses with Jet Knee, but honestly, Jet Knee's not worth using. So he's gonna be up for grabs as well. Up next, we have Stock the Broken. Stock's Broken. So he was a fusion, I believe, about a year ago. Speaking all battles, decent base stats. He has an AoE here that brings some poisons, and then he also gets additional benefit if you have HP burn on the enemy already, and then bring continuous heals. And then he has the detonator here on the A2 and A1 that increases duration. Honestly, the fact that he can't land HP burn himself kind of sucks. So he needs an HP burn champion to land it before him to get maximum value from this. And honestly, for Ogren tribes, there's not too many. Not too many. You have Ignatius. You have the epic guy. Skrank. Yeah, it's Skrank. HP burn. Yeah. So you have a couple, but you don't have too many to make this guy really, really work. And yeah, otherwise he's not bad as a fusion. He's good poisoner, for areas that require poison. So he is going to be up for grabs. And then after him, we have, speaking of Grand Oak Podrick, we have Grand Oak Podrick up for grabs as well. Now, this guy was a guarantee. He had a guarantee Hero's Path, which actually I feel is probably going to be similar to what Leonardo's Hero's Path would look like, because it was Podrick plus his soul in the Hero's Path. It was super expensive for what it was at that time, about 21 or 22 sacred shards for Podrick. But he's a great champ. I don't regret picking this guy up from that event. 112 base speeds, awesome. Speed in dungeons actually doesn't get enough love, but I use this guy in my Fire Knight Hard 10 team and definitely helps with the speed in all dungeons. He's bringing a turn meter boost with a cleanse, increased speed, and then the full team ally attack, which is very good. And his A1 actually needs to get a lot of love as well. It's awesome. He has a 50% chance of decreasing a random ally's skill by 2 turns. Now, if you get lucky with the 2-turn reduction, it's pretty massive, especially on the A1. So yeah, great champ, and his passive is awesome too. Great team building flexibility. You can just jam this guy into any team, and he's just going to elevate that team and performance quite a bit. So those are the non-voids for day one. In terms of void champions, of course, we're going to be talking about. I guess we're just talking about the same champions because we were just talking about continuous heal synergy. But then here we have a Senna. Senna's going to be up for grabs here. She is part of some of the biggest damage dealing Chimera teams. She brings insane amounts of turn meter boosting. So your team gets a ton of boosting, a ton of turns. And yeah, hopefully, you can use those turns to translate into damage. Great champ. She does bring the increased speed, continuous heals, 3 buffs here on the A2. She brings a team revive. So not too bad here. You can use her with like Titus teams and stuff like that. But yeah, great champion here. Just a general decent carry. 113 base speed as well. After that, we have Insenza Grail Bearer. I have this champion. Is actually a very nice champion, Void Affinity, and she brings a AoE decreased defense, ignoring block debuffs. She has a single target buff here. It's 4 buffs on a single target with a 50% turn meter boost. It's actually really nice. Continuous heals as well. And he has an A1 AoE decreased attack with a join-in attack with one of your highest crit damage champions. So she can really boost up the damage of your overall team performance. I'd say she's probably best in like Hydra. Um, and she can be used with Titus. I was using her on Titus teams. You basically just target Titus with this 4 buff ability. You give him big turn meter, you give him 4 buffs, and put Grail Bearer in a 9-piece protection set. So you're basically giving him 20% increased damage as well. And then she brings AoE decreased defense. Yeah, very, very strong champion. And then lastly, for day one, we have Raka Valtide here from the Orcs. Valtide, very good. Obviously, support champion. Void Affinity has speed in all battles. Team-wide revive with block debuffs. Has a team-wide cleanse with a shield and plus attack, and an A1, a little bit of healing. And he's got an A2 turn meter fill, and then passively placing continuous heals. Actually pretty nice. I don't like that her base stats are not that great for a support champion. 19,000 HP. Not as good as like Duchess, 21, 22, 23,000 even. That would have been much better. She does have higher base attack, but she's a support champion, so that doesn't make too much sense. But regardless, she is a great support champion, especially for orcs if you need a reviver. And that's going to wrap up the day one progressive event champions. Now, for me personally, obviously, Donatello's a massive draw if you don't have him. And I would say for the non-voids, I mean, Grand Oak's awesome. And then for the voids, it's got to be probably Senna. Senna's probably the best out of the bunch. All 3 are really good, but I think Senna's just the most widely used and probably the most impactful if you draw her. But like I said, I highly recommend not participating in these progressive events. And then on day 2, so on Wednesday, so this is still CVC, we have Raphael up for grabs from the Barbarian faction here. We just had a deck of fate for Raphael, so if you missed that, I mean, it's gambling time, I guess. But yeah, Raphael is going to be up for grabs. He is the damage dealing, one of the damage dealing turtles. And I think he's probably the weakest one. Although, I mean, you have to see some crazy build or usage for him. He's got an A1 block revive. He's got an A3 that's really strong, and then places Prevail and Unkillable on himself if he kills somebody with this. It's a really nice ability. And yeah, Raphael can place Berserk on himself. If somebody, anybody dies, not just on somebody on their team, anybody dies, he gets Berserk. Problem is that if you run him with Donatello has a cleanse ability, and then Donatello can cleanse this off. The other problem is if you run Raphael in Stone Skin, the Stone Skin will prevent the Berserk debuff from landing on himself. So it's a little bit tough. Too bad this was not protected or unblockable or something like that. That would have been nice. He also has a AoE kind of attack here. It's actually a pretty nice attack. Also brings turn meter boost as well. But again, it gets a nice benefit from Berserk. And if you don't have Berserk on, both of these abilities just don't really sing too much. They just don't really do too much. Yeah, after some playtesting, yeah, definitely requires the Berserk. But you guys let me know how you guys are building your Raphaels if you guys are using him. I think the best use case is with the other turtles so that he gets more A1 ally attacks in and then has the chance to block revive on the enemy. That would be really nice. But otherwise, I don't really see him being as a standalone damage dealer that you would bring on a team. Just not strong enough, in my opinion. After Wrath, we have Elva Autumnborn. Elva Autumnborn, the revival pass or welcome back pass champion, I guess. I think she's like the $20 champion, right? But she's so good. She's so good. 110 base speed with speed in all battles. Got single target revive, AoE cleanse with the increased speed block, debuffs, really strong, and A1 continuous heals. She's a great champion. She's a great champion. Yeah, and I think for 20 bucks, it's a pretty hard carry if you're planning to spend in the game. And yeah, she can do a pretty good job for you. Finds a spot in Chimera right now, so you know she at least has some end game use. Up next, we have Ragosh from the Skinwalkers. Ragosh, a spirit-based, defense-based damage dealer. You know, he has good abilities. Got an A1 self-buffing, increased defense, and then he has a 3-turn AoE, decreased defense, and stun. Like, this is a really good ability. And then he has a probably the weakest part of his kit, a 4-turn strengthen, increased speed, and then that's on your whole team, and then perfect veil on himself. Like, this is probably the weakest part of his kit. It probably should be a 3-turn, or if it's going to be a 4-turn, it should give him an extra turn. That would be nice. But yeah, the other part is that he doesn't ignore defense, stone skin, shield, or anything like that. So he's not going to hit hard enough. He's not going to hit hard enough. And that's a bit of a problem for him, right? Otherwise, he's a pretty cool champ. You know, but unfortunately does not hit hard enough to have any serious use case, I think. After that, we have Glacade the Meltwater. Very good champ. Force Affinity support champion, very good champ. Team wide revive here. If you don't want the revive, you can just go with the increased accuracy, increased defense on all allies. That's really nice. He also brings increased attack and perfect veil and a turn meter fill on a 4-turn cooldown as well, and an A1 conditional freeze. His passive is really good, gives you a little bit of a damage boost if you're under veil, 10%. Slap this guy with 9-piece protection set, and you're getting a whole bunch of buffs. You're getting a bunch of buffs here, increased accuracy, increased defense, increased attack, perfect veil. So basically 4 buffs, and then you get additional damage here if you're under veil. So yeah, he's a big damage boost for a lot of teams. Probably best in Hydra, for example. Be in all battles here. Great base speed, 112. So yeah, great champ overall. I would love to have this guy, but not going to be pulling for him, that's for sure. After that, we have Arashi Riptide from the Shadowkin. So Arashi here, spirit-based, HP-based damage dealer. He has a pretty cool kit, but from my testing, it just doesn't hit hard enough. He can self-buff, perfect veil, increase crit damage, and he has ignore defense in his kit as well. His passive here is really nice. He plays his veil on his champion for 1 turn, has a little bit of reflect damage, has turn meter fill on himself. His A2 here has ignore defense, ignore shield, strengthens, ignore stone skins if he's under perfect veil. I mean, his kit sounds good, but he just doesn't hit hard enough. And he has ways to like kind of boost his own damage and like buff himself, but he just doesn't hit hard enough, unfortunately. Almost 24k HP, and he can't get the job done. Feels really, really bad. His animation is pretty cool as well, so it's a little bit of a shame, to be honest. After that, for the Void Champions for day 2, we have from Lisbon, Fighty Tealcrest. Yeah, this guy would be basically like an upgraded Donatello, in my opinion. He brings the kind of bigger version of Donatello's ability. So Donatello brings increased speed, and then a 2-turn cooldown reduction on the whole team. Fighty brings a increased resistance, perfect veil, and then he brings a 3-turn cooldown reduction on the whole team. So just the bigger version of Donatello's ability, and then also more buffs. I would say perfect veil is probably harder to get than increased speed. So it's more unique and obviously increased resistance as well. But this is a much stronger ability than Donatello's, and Donatello already has a very strong ability, so that's how strong Fighty is. He also has an insane 3-turn strip, decreased defense, and block buffs, and a turn meter fill. So sorry, not decreased defense, but decreased speed, block buffs, strip, and turn meter fill. So if you think about Ragosh, who's doing a 3-turn AoE strip and decreased defense, This guy's doing like a bunch of other stuff on top of that, like not decreased defense, but a bunch of stuff. It's just crazy value, for his ability. It's just really, really good. Fighty would probably fit in on like some Titus teams. He would fit in on, Trunda teams. Yeah, he's just a great champ overall. You can play him in arena as well if you want. Like I said, I think the biggest knock against him is probably this resistance in all battles. Um, for arena, this is not that great. You much rather have speed in all battles, maybe even accuracy in all battles. But I guess he doesn't land too many accuracy or debuffs. Just two here. Yeah, I guess maybe resistance. Okay, you got increased resistance. But yeah, he's a great champ, a void champion, so not many people have him. And then after Fighty, we have the queen herself, Yumiko, the queen of the problems. But yeah, Yumiko still, doing her thing after all these years. She got the reset ability. The biggest thing about her is that she can be reset, and then you can just use this again. So reset into reset into reset, and she's the engine that drives the bus for all those big damage dealing teams. Built-in hex as well, very nice. But she is absolutely insane, and she's gonna be up for grabs. And lastly, for the Void Champion, seemingly misplaced, we have Vlad the Nightborn. So you got Fighty, Yumiko, and then somehow Vlad sneaks in there, I guess, for Halloween. Honestly, Vlad is not a bad champ. Vlad's not a bad champ. I did a video of him like soloing Faction Wars 21 or something. He's pretty good. He's got an AoE leech here. He's got AoE decreased defense, block actives. And then he has, destroy max HP on the A1. He has a passive here that places revive on death whenever he kills somebody. So that's kind of nice. Honestly, it's kind of nice. Keeps him, gives him a way to sustain himself in battle. He's not going to hit super hard, mainly because his base stats are not super great. But he does bring some cool debuffs, which is nice. Decreased defense, block actives, and then leech as well. So not a bad champ, but definitely not in the same conversation as Yumiko or Fighty for the progressive voids. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the two progressive events happening for CVC. Like I said, don't pull if you can help it. These are, obviously going to try to shake you loose of your shards. Don't do it. Don't do it. Save for Leonardo if you can do it. I don't think these are overly too enticing. I much rather have my, Mercy and then try to use it for like Yumiko, for example. That would have been nice instead of pulling Inithue over the weekend. It would have been nice to use my Void Mercy to try to get Yumiko. That's something that I probably would have gambled with. But now it's just like whatever. Just hold on to your shards, wait for Leonardo, get it in the bag, and yeah. And also this fusion is coming up as well, so there's something else to think about because the fusion looks pretty cool as well. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about all these champions. Have a great CVC. Like I said, I'll be streaming shortly after CVC starts, so hopefully we'll see you guys then. Have a great day, have a great Monday, and thanks for watching till the end. I'll see you guys in the next video.